He walked through that door like he owned the place. No hesitation, no fear, just 4 white paws on the floor and a look that said, "This will do." She thought she was rescuing him. She had spent weeks preparing. A soft bed in the corner, a little bowl with his name on it, toys lined up on the shelf like a welcome party. She had done everything right. But the moment Domino stepped inside, none of that mattered to him, because Domino didn't come in as a rescue. He came in as a landlord inspecting his new property, and to understand why that single moment changed everything, we have to go back to where this story actually begins. 6 months before that day, Sarah wasn't even looking for a cat. She was just walking through the shelter with a friend, just to look, she told herself, just to look. The shelter was loud that afternoon, kittens tumbling over each other, orange tabbies pressing their faces to the glass, a fluffy Persian doing everything possible to be noticed. And then there was Domino, sitting at the back of his cage, completely still. Not performing, not begging, just sitting there with those sharp yellow-green eyes, watching everyone walk past like he was evaluating them and finding them mildly disappointing. The volunteer said he'd been there for 4 months. 4 months of weekends, 4 months of families walking past. He's not unfriendly, she explained quickly. He just has standards. Sarah laughed. Then she looked at him again, and something about the way he held himself, that absolute, unshakable calm, made her stop. She stood there longer than she meant to. She filled out the paperwork that same afternoon. But what happened next, nobody could have predicted. The first morning, Sarah woke up to find Domino sitting on her chest, not curled up, not nuzzling, sitting upright, staring directly at her face, waiting for her eyes to open. The moment they did, he made a single sound. Short, deliberate, completely clear. It meant, get up, it is morning, there are things to be done. She got up. She would laugh about it later, telling friends she had never needed an alarm clock again. What she didn't say was that she didn't want one anymore. By the end of week 1, Domino had conducted a full audit of the apartment. Every cabinet tested, every shelf inspected, every blanket rearranged to his precise specification. The bed in the corner she had prepared, he walked past it once, sniffed it, and never acknowledged it again. He slept in the exact center of her pillow, every single night. By week 2, a new system had been established. Dinner at 5, not 5:30, playtime before bed, not after, the window blind on the left open, the window blind on the right closed, the throw pillow on the armchair on the floor, always. Sarah would put it back, Domino would knock it down again. This happened every single day without exception. She eventually stopped putting it back. Sarah wasn't entirely sure when she had agreed to any of this. She hadn't signed anything, nobody had negotiated, but somehow it had all been decided. And the strangest part? She didn't mind. And if you're watching this story unfold and thinking, wait, this sounds oddly familiar, hit that subscribe button right now. Because there is so much more of Domino's story still to come, and trust me, it only gets better from here. Now, here's the thing that Sarah didn't expect. Beneath every rule, beneath every audit, beneath every early morning wake-up call, Domino was paying attention in ways she hadn't noticed yet. The first time Sarah came home from a difficult day, shoulders heavy, voice quiet, Domino was at the door. Not because it was dinner time. Dinner wasn't for another 2 hours. He was just there. He walked with her to the couch. He didn't crawl into her lap. That would have been too obvious, too easy. Instead, he sat beside her, close enough that his fur pressed against her arm. And he stayed. For the next hour, he didn't move. He didn't ask for anything. He just stayed. Little did she know, this was only the beginning of what Domino was quietly becoming in her life. There was an afternoon in the 3rd month that Sarah still talks about. She had been sick for 3 days, barely leaving bed, barely eating. And for 3 days, Domino did not leave that room. Not for food, not for the window, not for anything. He posted himself at the foot of the bed like a sentinel. Anytime she stirred, he raised his head and looked at her, not with worry exactly, more like supervision. On the 2nd night, at exactly 2:17 a.m., she woke up coughing. When she opened her eyes, Domino was already standing, already watching. He walked up slowly, placed one white paw in her hand, and began to purr. Low, steady, constant, like a small engine running through the dark. She didn't know if it helped her sleep, but she knew she didn't feel alone. What she found in the days after that would change how she saw him completely, because when she finally recovered and looked back at those 3 days, she realized something. Domino had given up every routine, every scheduled demand, every carefully enforced rule. The 5 o'clock dinner, skipped without complaint. The window blind ritual, untouched. The pillow on the armchair floor, still where she had left it. All of it quietly set aside, without being asked, without any negotiation. For 3 days, he had been nothing but present. No agenda, no standards, just there, watching over her the same way she had once watched over him. From that moment on, Sarah understood something she hadn't been able to name before. Domino didn't run the house because he was difficult. He ran the house because structure was the only language he knew how to use. In that shelter for 4 months, he had waited with total dignity. He hadn't begged, he hadn't performed, he had simply held himself together day after day in a place that felt like nowhere. And when Sarah had finally walked in, he hadn't fallen apart with relief. He had simply begun building something. A home. On his terms, yes. In his language, yes. But for both of them. Today, Domino still wakes her up at exactly the same time every morning. He still has opinions about the window blinds. He still sits in the center of her pillow like it was always his. The throw pillow is still on the floor. She stopped fighting it a long time ago. And every evening, without fail, he settles beside her on the couch. Not in her lap, just beside her. Close enough that she can feel him breathing. She used to think that was just his personality, that he was simply a cat who preferred proximity without vulnerability, but she knows better now. Sometimes she looks over at him, that serious face, those unblinking yellow-green eyes, and she thinks about the shelter volunteer's words. He just has standards. She understands now that those standards were never really about control. They were about survival. They were the walls he had built to protect something soft and true in him in a world that had not yet given him a reason to let them down. She gave him that reason, and in return, he gave her something she hadn't known she needed, a quiet, stubborn, completely devoted presence that shows up every single day without being asked. Some rescues go exactly like you imagine, and some rescues walk through your door, inspect every corner, rearrange your pillows, and somehow become the thing that holds you together. So here's what I want to know. Do you think cats like Domino choose their people on purpose, or do they just make the best of whoever opens the door? Tell me in the comments.